Welcome everybody to Kalispell Warhawk Football. My name is MrHurriicane. Welcome back to the channel. This, of course, is the recap to the off-season for year 9 of the series. I streamed this live on Saturday. It's on my channel and it was nearly 3 hours. But here it is, all recapped for you in about 15 minutes. It was a great national championship winning season for our Warhawks. And it was a record-breaking season for some of our players. Maurice Collins is a sophomore, put his name in the history books, as well as Hayden John Charles. Kalispell has now won back-to-back national championships as we head into the 10th year of this series. And after all the NCAA I've played, I found something I had never seen before. We're used to losing our coordinators to head coaching jobs and getting new coordinators. Our offensive coordinator, Mike Bloomgren, is now the head coach at Western Michigan, and we're used to having random coaches come and fill their roles. Did you know that you can actually select your coordinators? I didn't even realize I did this during the stream. I caught this in editing, but here in the coach carousel, if you sim to the end, you end up getting to see potential offensive coordinators to hire, and I just happened to hit X on UNLV, and I hired their coordinator. I had never seen this before, and I posted this on Twitter, and so many people had no idea you could do this. I haven't had anybody message me yet saying that I should have known about this or anything. I think I should have, and I'm sure other people do know about it, but it appears that there are a lot of people who didn't know that was even possible. So maybe in the future, it's possible we could bring Jonathan Starks back to Kalispell. But right now, he is still the head coach at Vanderbilt and got a contract extension. It's tough there in the SEC, but they're sticking with him. So with the coaching situation taken care of, it was time for the players leaving stage. And I really wondered if anybody would try to go to the draft early. And Mario Townsend did declare. He was set to be a 4th round prospect, but of course I had to convince him that he needed to stay one more year at Kalispell. I want Mario to finally start next season. He's been an amazing role player, one of the best of this series, always there with big plays at the right moments. And I guaranteed him we'd win the conference championship. That was enough to get him to stay at Kalispell for his senior season. There was one player hoping to transfer away, and that was wide receiver Brian Newsome. I did not negotiate with him to stay. And then there were 2 seniors headed to the draft. I think it should have been more. Chad Moore and Hayden John Charles will be going pro. At Texas A&M, I forgot to edit Justin Colbert to be on another team and a senior, and he just did not declare. So he'll probably be in the next draft then for Texas A&M, and I'll edit his ratings during the season. So that'll be a little weird, but it'll still work. On to transfer requests. Anybody want to come here? Nope, still. 9 off seasons, 0 requests to transfer to Kalispell. And there are your draft results. 2 more professional Warhawks. Chad Moore, surprised he'd go in the 4th round. Hayden John Charles, I think he'd go earlier. Over at Cal, they had a couple go pro, including Caden Sweezy, one of the recruits that Blackjack made many years ago. For Minnesota, Sidney John Charles, undrafted. That's interesting. Oliver Raymond for Penn State, 1st round pick to no surprise. Stanford has been very good against us. Their defense has been tough, and they just lost 6 players to the draft. Texas has recruited so well recently, and they had 6 first-round picks alone. Let's get on to off-season recruiting. I knew this approach was going to be the most simple we've really ever had, because Shannon Somerville and Bill Long are 2 very special prospects. They both play defensive line, and they were the only 2 that I thought I had to really go for. Everybody else was either not highly rated or they were already favoring another team pretty heavily. And I did not want to miss out on the prospects like Somerville and Long. Somerville has very good finesse moves. He has great speed and athleticism. He's going to be very good in a couple of years. And then Bill Long, an amazing pass rusher. I think he could be maybe even more dominant than Boogie Turner. Don't tell him that. But with already having Montrell Bonds and some of these other players in this class, I felt like we had one of the most impactful classes, despite only having a handful of players committed at this point. Almost all of them had a chance to be a high-level starter later in their careers. And we also had a new offensive nucleus, getting 2 running backs, Luke Irvin, Drake Maddox, and some offensive line help. So I put all 15,000 points into Shannon Somerville and Bill Long. Long got 8K because I wanted him a little bit more. And on to signing day we go. I was surprised to get anybody beyond those 2, but we did. Tyrell Jefferson ended up going to Boise State. That did surprise me a little bit. But we end up getting Nick Lindsey, a 5-star wide receiver. This I wasn't expecting, and you'll see his ratings in a little bit. And going down the list, the aggressive efforts paid off, and now at Kalispell, Shannon Somerville and Bill Long. This defensive line is going to be very, very scary for a long time. Maurice Collins, who set the single-season sack record in Kalispell history last year, is only a junior, so we could be pretty stacked for a very long time. We did get one athlete this offseason, Trey Walker at 6'8", 240. I did not realize the entirety of what he could do. He could be a mid-70s offensive lineman. He could be a low-rated tight end, defensive end, linebacker. He's one of the most well-rounded athletes I've ever found in this game. And I wanted to play him at defensive end this whole time. He didn't have the speed to be an off-ball linebacker. I thought he'd be pretty good as a pass rusher. But wow, to see what he could be as an offensive lineman, that was pretty awesome. We'll talk about him later on, because everybody wanted to see him play some fullback. Here was Nick Lindsey, by the way. The ratings, I think, are pretty comparable to Justin Payne. I ended up moving Keenan Gabbard to fullback because you have to have at least one player officially listed there. And then I took a look at our linebacker situation because we did just lose Xavier Bozeman and Wesley Merrill. I think they both should have been drafted, at least late round picks. And there are some players you're going to get to know this year. Maybe number 2 Leo Thorne is one of them. I've compared him to Anthony Barr. I think he has that same dynamic, game-changing skill set. We'll go to training results now. Brandon Warren was already a 99 overall. Dustin Payment gets up to an 86 in his final season. He'll be the backup quarterback this year to Warren. And then at running back, big 6-point boost to Marcus Payne, who's our best returning running back. I do think he's a lot better than Marty Belafonte at the position. At wide receiver, only a +2 for Justin Payne. That was shocking, although a couple key areas didn't have room for growth because he already has 99 catching and route running. But some people think that maybe Payne was slacking off this offseason and he deserves maybe a short suspension. We'll see. At tight end, Reggie Jackson's up to an 87 along with Thomas Roberts, who returns after being redshirted. I'm very happy he did not transfer away. Then there's the offensive line, who has long been a weakness in Kalispell football, but that changed last season, especially in the run blocking department. We created so many big runs, and we have almost everybody returning. Johnny Cabral is the only new starter replacing Mike Hill, and Cabral is our most athletic guard, and he's a great run blocker. What a great fit. Maurice Collins also had a very low upgrade this year, so some want both Payne and Maurice Collins to maybe face a short suspension. At defensive tackle, Boogie Turner enters his senior season as a 91 overall. I love to see him become an early NFL draft pick. He has incredible hit power, finesse moves, block shed. It's going to be a fun season. Then you got Mario Townsend, he is the highest rated front 7 player that we have now. 92 overall. I want to play him on the line because he's a good pass rusher. However, he's also our best coverage linebacker on the team. So what do you do there? We have 3 other linebackers I like, but who's going to be able to cover? And is it worth it to just play Mario on the line because he's really good at it? The main thing is figuring out who the 2 nickel linebackers are going to be, and I think one's going to be Brandon Williams, but then there's Leo Thorne, James Huggins, and then I would assume Mario Townsend, but it's tempting to keep him as just a pass rusher where he's thrived so much. At corner, Daniel Foster is now an 87, already has 99 man coverage as a sophomore. At safety, we have a lot of good ones. Tommy Jordan's a 91. He could play even more safety this year. One suggestion I've seen is to play Jamari Akinjide at a nickel linebacker spot. There's certainly room there for him, and he can hit and play the run. I think that's a really good idea, whoever thought of that. That takes us to the cutting players stage. We're not going to spend too much time here. We had a few walk-ons. They were low rated, and they ultimately got cut, so I'll spare you the deep detail here. From there, it's on to custom conferences, and I did actually make a change this year because Hawaii has not fared well in the Pac-12. They won a single game last season, and I'm sending them back to the Mountain West. So we're not going to have them as a rivalry opponent every season any longer. Although I'll probably play somebody from the Mountain West this year. I'm not sure who. Maybe Boise State would be fun. I thought about moving one of these teams to the Pac-12, but I just didn't think anybody would come and compete. So here's a look at the base schedule. I'll change around the non-conference stuff, but the locked-in conference games are there. Neither Washington team this year, and they're both bad right now anyway, but there are the opponents you will see us face in year number 10. Here's our new offensive coordinator, by the way, a level 13, so we do downgrade a bit at OC, but we're still going to be all right, I feel. Now, how about we get into some practice? I could not wait to see what Montrell Bonds was all about. I got him in there right away, gave him a few carries. He does not feel as explosive as I thought. He is obviously a larger back. He isn't as fast as Kyle Thomas or Marcus Payne, but he does have power. He also had to face our defense, so I didn't think it was a good place for him to look good. Ultimately, Marcus Payne is going to start the year as the running back 1. He'll get the first touches each game. But Marcus Payne is also going to come off the field in the red zone this year a bit, where he actually went on the field a year ago. Obviously, at the goal line, I want more power, and Montrell Bonds has that. But don't worry, Marcus Payne is still going to play a lot. I saw many worried about that, and I thought it was kind of cool how many of you are just so attached to Marcus Payne now after last season. You saw a couple deep balls right there. Brandon Warren going downfield for Carl Joy, something I hope we see a lot more of this year after a sub-600-yard season a year ago. Ultimately, though, this is going to be a run-first offense. We found our identity last year really when Warren came back from his injury, and I began to accept it more than I had before. And with Montrell Bonds and Marcus Payne in this offensive line, I want to run the ball with authority again and be a top rushing team. And then with Luke Irvin, maybe the one that takes over for Brandon Warren, you can see this offense turn a bit more pro style in the future. Obviously with JR Battle, we had to adjust things, and I don't see us having a better quarterback than Irvin next year. So you could see us in year 11 doing a lot to change the offense. And yes, there will be a year 11 here in the series, at least 11 years, maybe more. We'll see how things unfold going forward. Remember when I talked about Trey Walker earlier? Well, I wanted to see what he could do at fullback, and the chat really wanted to see this. So there is 6'8", 240-pound Trey Walker. I can't believe he would have been a decently highly rated 240-pound offensive lineman. I think he might have even had the strength to pull it off. But here's a look at him playing some fullback. And here's Luke Irvin in at quarterback with the throw of the day right there. That is touch. That is a very difficult throw to make. Irvin is highly accurate. He has, I'd say, average to above average arm strength, but his accuracy is really his calling card. And that was a great glimpse of perhaps the future of Warhawk football. You also see some clips in here of Drake Maddox. I don't think he'll play as a freshman, but he certainly has the chance to be one of the best tight ends to come out of Kalispell. And also Tyrone Houston. You've seen a few clips of him. A little inconsistent at times, but he made some of the best plays all day. And he's our second best deep threat on the roster, so he's definitely going to get on the field more this season. He, of course, had a big catch in the national championship. Could not have won without him. And there he is again. I will be doing another practice stream at some point this week. I've been putting a lot of time into trying to get the new Madden series off the ground, and I've had to delay that yet again. I'll update you when I have more to talk about with that series, but in regards to Kalispell, we'll do another stream. I'll get some prospects from Blackjack, get those in the game, and then it's on to year number 10. Let me know what players you're excited to see here in year 10, who could have maybe a record-breaking year for Kalispell, or who could really change this season and make it special yet again. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. That's going to do it for me, everybody. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Was very cool to see that you can actually hire your own coordinators. I love that discovery. But please leave a like if you enjoyed the video and you are enjoying Kalispell football. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications. And I'll see you all again soon. Have a great day.